Hi everyone, it's Shannon and welcome to today's video. So I'm back with another one of my palette rankings. I'm trying to get through these palette rankings before I do my big eyeshadow declutter because I do want to declutter quite a bit. However, with these, I don't think I'm going to declutter any of these because one, they don't take up a lot of space. And then two, I purposely brought them for, travel. I love them for travel. However, because I have so many palettes and then I end up I forget about them. So I don't think I'm going to declutter any of these, I'll be honest, because I do love all of these. And I'm also not sure if they're going away. These are the Viseart Petit Pro. So these are specifically, and I'm just going to grab one here. These are the ones that are the 8 pans. They're pretty tiny. So you can see here, they're the same size as the pans as the quads, except there's double the amount of product. So you have an 8 pan. I love these. I think they're they don't take up a lot of space. If you compare it to my iPhone, I mean, it's the size of a credit card, maybe a little bit larger, but they don't take up a lot of space. They fold really nice. They even have a little tiny mirror in them. So I think they're just the perfect size for travel. Plus you have the great Viseart quality. So I love them. I think they're just really, really great. There are some that I like more than others, but I have a feeling they didn't come out with any new 8 pans last year for 2024. But again, I just don't think many people talk about them. Most people talk about the 16 pans or I think the 12 pans. I don't really, to me, if I'm going to get that, I'm going to get a larger palette. I just think the 8 pans are the perfect size, but it seems like I am in the minority. So I'm going to do my ranking anyway. I'm going to do my ranking, tell you which ones I like and why, but I do like them all. There's one that I did not get, and I think it's called the Soleil. And that one was just a little too bright for me. So that's the only one. There's a couple that have some color, and those are, tend to be at the bottom of the list, but I still like them and I still, think that they serve a purpose in my collection. But you'll see that the ones towards the top are the more neutral or ones that just kind of have really kind of more boring color stories, but those are the ones I end up reaching for the most. So let's get into my ranking. Okay, so all of these are still listed on the Viseart website, except for one, which is I think my number 8. I have 10, so on my number 8, and I'll get to that in a second. I'll mention it, but you can find it elsewhere. So these are on Beautylish, and they're on with other websites. They're no longer on Sephora, so these aren't sold on Sephora, but you can find them on other websites. So I decided to go ahead and still do this because I like these, and if they are on sale and they are going away and you can get them for 50% off, then hopefully this video helps you decide which one to get. So so my number 10 is going to be, and I'm going to mispronounce these names because Viseart, I don't know if it's a French brand, but a lot of the names are in French. I am going to get the names, I'm going to pronounce them wrong, so I apologize in advance. Feel free to correct me. I apologize. The first one is going to be Chou, Chow. I'm not sure. This one is just because it's just very colorful. It's beautiful, and I can definitely use it. Some of these shades, some of these shimmers, and a lot of times they will have 4 shimmers and 4 mattes, and that is the case for this one. There's some really beautiful shimmers in here though, and this one I tend to use as a little bit of complementary palette. So I will pick a color from here, but I won't necessarily just use this palette. But because it's such a small palette, I can do that. But I do love it, but I only put it at the bottom because it is a little bit more colorful, and I find that I need to dip into other palettes. But you do have some kind of neutral or transition shades here to kind of anchor it. But it's a really great palette, especially if you love color. It's great. The quality is fantastic. So this is my number 10, Chou, something like that. Okay, so my number 9 is kind of sad because they came out with a couple that had city names, and this is probably my favorite city in the world, and it was my least favorite of the 3 that they came out with, and it is the London Étoile, I think it's how it's pronounced. And it's just because it's a little bit deep for me, it's a little bit dark, and you know, you've got the purples. I love the purple, and I actually, like, if I'm going to reach in for a purple, it's probably going to be here. I just don't really reach in for purples very often. The oranges, I like coppery shades, but I really don't care for those orange shades, and I don't necessarily like it with the purple, and I just can't really use it together. So I do, again, there's none that I don't like. I will say that. There's none that I don't like. This one is just, it's a little bit dark for me, and it's probably my least favorite of the city ones. I still use it. You can definitely see where I've used quite a bit of this. And I do like, this is probably, like, I have that Roxa palette from Natasha Denona. As I'm looking through this, I'm like, you know, I've got enough purple here where I probably will declutter the Roxa palette and keep something like this, because this is going to take up less space and the quality is excellent. So, but this is my number 9, and this is the London one. Okay, so my number 8 is the only one that's not listed on the Viseart website, so I'm assuming it's been discontinued. And this is the Petit Pro Trois, or Tro, which I believe is 3. So this is, and I like this. It's not that I don't like it. I love that it has this dark green and this shimmer green, and it's kind of, you know, I feel like it's kind of like 2 quads. So it's like this one here and this here, but I feel like this is pretty easy to use, and then this one's a little bit, you know, harder. But I do really like it, and I just find that I don't reach for it as often. And, you know, the deep green, I really don't reach for. I do love this, like, lime green shimmer shade though. It's gorgeous. So I do really like this one. It's just one that, I kind of forget about this one, to be honest. So that's why it is my number 8. Okay, so my number 7 is Deux, which I believe is 2. So Deux. And it's kind of the same thing. So here you've got the purples, and then you've got like this coral, and this one is just one, again, it's I kind of forget about it. When I'm reaching in for it, I kind of, the ones at the top, like the top 5 are really the ones that I reach for. And those are the ones that I kind of know, and I know which one it is. This one I just kind of forget. And I think also because of the names, I kind of forget about what's inside. Like when you reach for London or San Francisco or Paris, I know which ones those are. And then there's Midsommer and Solstice. I know which ones those are because you kind of know what the names. When it's like 1, 2, and 3 in French, you kind of forget. And this one I kind of just forget about. So I really haven't used this one as much as the others. And as I'm looking at the color story, there's really no reason. There's nothing that I just don't like about it. The quality's great. To me, it's kind of forgettable. So that's why it's my number 7. Okay, number 6 was hard for me. Number 6 and number 5 were hard because I kind of felt they were interchangeable. But at the end of the day, I kind of went with which one did I use more? And number 6 is the one I used less. And this is the Paris. So Paris, and what it comes down to, this one is gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. I love the color story. It's just a little bit more difficult to use because it's just a lot of darker tones. Very, very sultry, gorgeous. Like when I take the time and I kind of maybe watch somebody else's tutorial on either this palette or kind of doing, copying a similar tutorial with similar colors, I can get a gorgeous look, but I really, really have to take my time. I love the tones in this. It's just gorgeous. It's again, you're going to get a sexy, sultry look, but for me, it's just a little bit more difficult to use because I'm not that comfortable with using those types of tones. However, if you love that, this is stunning palette. Stunning, stunning, stunning. I think it's a very unique color story that you're not going to find, especially in a little palette like this. So, so good. I love it. But I just put it at number 6 because for me, it's just a little bit more difficult to use. Okay, so now we're into the top half, and these are the ones that I really reach for the most. And when it came down to this one is the San Francisco. So the San Francisco Atelier, I guess is what it's pronounced. But this was the 3 that came out. And of those 3, this is the one I reach for the most. Now again, this one's probably, like, if you look at this half, it's a pretty boring palette. This side, and it's really not that exciting. You've got like this really pretty olive green shimmer, this teal shimmer, and this like gold coppery shimmer. But man, like, you can get 3 very different looks. You can just use those like 3 mattes and then use each of those shimmers, and you've got a completely different look. And those are all colors that I love wearing, especially like the olive green. I've really learned to love olive green, especially like an olive green shimmer. So I reach for this one a lot. I love it. I think it's gorgeous. The quality is fantastic. It's great. I had the I still do the Urban Decay Naked Wild West, like the little mini one, and it's pretty much the same shades. And that palette, like, compared to the quality, that palette is just crap, to be honest, because the quality in Viseart is so good that one just feels dry. And I used it once, and then I compared it to this, and I was just like, I never picked it up again. So I'm looking forward to my declutter so that I can declutter it, because it's just like the same palette, but the quality is night and day. So this one I absolutely love, and it looks kind of boring, but those pops of colors are going to give you a very different look, and, you know, just a little bit. And then this shimmer right here is even gorgeous, you know, just as well. Okay, so number 4, I think this was my first one. And I think I got this in an Ipsy bag way back when. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm hooked. And it is the Un palette. So I think it's number 1. I believe this was the first one that came out. This was definitely the first one I had. And I fell in love with this one. I ended up getting 2 and 3, and I used those. Like, those were the first 3 that I got, and then I was like, wow, these are perfect. These are perfect for travel. These are perfect for, you know, every day. And again, like, you've got, this one's kind of like, you know, a cool tone, but you've got like these really pretty, you know, neutrals, browns. You've got this like really pretty, you know, ivory shade, and then you've got these 4 shimmer shades, and the 4 shimmer shades are going to give you different looks. Just gorgeous. Like, it's a very versatile little tiny palette. It's just great. I love it. And this was what made me fall in love with this format. Like, I love these so much more than the quads, because I think you just get a little bit more variety, and it doesn't take up that much more space. I think they're great. So this was the Un. This one I believe is still available. It's fantastic. And this is my number 4. Okay, so the top 3, and I think the top 3 came out at the same time. So they came out together. Like, they tend to like release things in bundles. And this is Apricotine. I think it's how it's Apricotine. And this is, I believe this was number 4. And this one I love. It's just a beautiful peachy, it's just great. I mean, it's apricot, peach, like, so when I look at this, when I'm looking in my drawer and I see this, I know, like, if I'm looking for like a peachy, I know when I reach for this, this is what I'm going to get. And that's what I'm talking about as far as the other ones. I think this is just gorgeous. You've got this beautiful like apricot shade here, beautiful transition shade, just really great, versatile little tiny palette that just does everything. It really does everything. You can tell that I've used this one quite a bit. Again, and I love, these are types of tones that I love. So that really helps it boost it up to the top, because these are tones that I love. I have blue eyes, so, you know, peachy, coppery shades are going to make my blue eyes pop. So Apricotine is my number 3. Okay, so my number 2 is Midsommer. Midsommer is like the perfect little mauve palette. It is just gorgeous. Now, this one has 5 mattes as opposed to 4. And then you've got this one right here, which is almost like a matte with some like shimmer in it. So there's really like 6 mattes in this palette, which surprises me that I like it so much, because it has so many mattes. But this shade right here is one of my favorite shimmers from Viseart. It's just so gorgeous. I absolutely love it. I love it on the eye. It's gorgeous. And what I can do with this palette is sometimes I will reach into this. I will use the mattes, and if there's like a shimmer or something, or a loose shimmer, one of the from Charlotte Tilbury, the Pop Shots, I will use that, or you know, my Hourglass, I forgot what it's called, Shattered Glass, whatever it's called. I will use those. The loose pigments, I will use this. So, but I use this one quite a bit with that shade. But I love this for a nice little quick mauve palette. It's gorgeous. Love it. It's great. It does everything I want it to do. And I just, every time I wear it, I love how my eye look comes out. So this is Midsummer. And again, this is like the perfect little mauve palette. And then finally, my number one is going to be Solstice. Solstice is what I'm wearing today. And again, it comes down to this like shade right here, which is what I have on my eyes. I love this shade, but this is like a great neutral, warm leaning palette, like warm, you know, just a warm little neutral palette. Not much to write home about, but every time I wear it, it's just like, I love how my eye look comes out. It's very basic, but it's solid. It's solid. I'm going to get a good look out of it. I can go into this. I can do this really, really quick. And I know I'm going to love how my eyes, one, it's going to be easy to use because the quality is so good. Viseart quality is so good. It really makes a difference that I can go in and do it. And then plus I just love the color. So I have these two shades here on my lid. So I have this one on the inner, on the lid, and then this in the inner corner, which is, and the brow bone, which is kind of like a peachy yellow, you know, shimmer, but it's just great. It's the Solstice. Again, this one I just love. This one is the one that, you know, between Midsummer, Solstice, and Apricotine are the three that I love the most. Like, to me, that was the collection that just came out that was like, oh, had my name written all over it. I do love the city ones, but those are a little bit more edgy, and maybe they were a little bit more popular, but these were up my alley. So my number one is Solstice. So again, those are my rankings of my Viseart Petit Pro little palettes. I love these. I think they're going away though, but I think that also just tells you that Viseart palettes are fantastic. I love the Viseart quality, and whether it's in a quad or an 8-pan, 12-pan, 16-pan, whatever, their quality is amazing, and they're really great palettes on the go. So if these are still available, and especially if they're on sale, they're normally $30, but I've seen them on sale for like $15, pick them up. Pick them up. You're not going to be disappointed. The quality is amazing. They're great for travel. You're going to get a great, you know, just great overall quality palette. You know, the pans are small. The pans are small, but you know, you don't need a lot. Like, especially if you have a larger collection, you don't need, I tend to really appreciate those smaller palettes because they don't take up much room, and it gives you a little bit more variety in your collection. So with that, if you like this video, click like, click and subscribe. That way you get a notification every time I post a new video. Bye everyone.